Hello, hello, and welcome back to Scholastically Natalie, where we talk about books, writing, reading, D&D, and sometimes other things. Today we have a book review / book talk about Unlock Your Storybook Heart by Amanda Lovelace. I know I'm kind of late on the release of this, and honestly, I forgot it was coming out, kind of with how busy I've been. So I was quite excited when I was walking through Target to see it sitting there on the shelf, just waiting for me to find it. So let's go ahead with the usual procedure. So, this is the nice blurb on the back and what the cover looks like. Disenchanted is she by the idea of living her life the way she thought it had to be. And as always, we're gonna take a peek at the poems that I pointed out as the ones that especially resonated with me or said many nice things. So first, we have on page 39, her books say, "Don't settle for anyone who accepts you in spite of an integral part of yourself, for that is not love. Don't stop looking until you find someone who adores you because of everything you are, for that is love." Next, on page 47, her books say, "Imagine this. There could be a version of you in every part of the future who knows it will get better, because she's already been through everything you've been through and managed to survive it all. So, when you feel hopeless, trust her resilience, which is to say, trust your own." On page 51, her books say, "It would certainly be dull for you to be the same as every other person, but it would be absolutely tragic for you to be anyone except who you truly are." On page 53, her books say, "The tiniest steps are arguably the most important, so long as they're going in the right direction. But if you end up wandering paths you've outgrown, there's nothing to worry about. Finding your way is something that takes practice, and practicing means you're bound to make some mistakes. Look at it this way. At least you'll have wisdom to share." Page 61. Her books say, "Here's a little-known secret. January 1st isn't the only new beginning. New beginnings can happen at any given minute, at any given second. You need only say when." Page 81. "Let no book collect dust. You never know which one will heal wounds you never knew you had." Page 83. "She may be as soft as a petal, but she isn't as delicate as you think. Treat her with equal parts care and caution." Page 91. "Intrusive and unpleasant thoughts are merely just that. Thoughts. Imagine them as glitter in your palm and blow them far, far away." A poem for you as much as it is for me. Page 99. If there's one lesson you should choose to take away from my story, then let it be this. Life is not something that can be experienced on a deadline. Sometimes you must completely let go. No expectations, no preconceived notions. Do try to have faith that you'll end up someplace remarkable, no matter how many unusual characters you happen upon or tricky plot twists that unfold along the way. Breaking the fourth wall. Page 123. I know losing someone can make you feel like you're nothing but a chipped wine glass with a forever missing piece. But the thing is, a wine glass with a forever missing piece doesn't need to be thrown into the garbage. The rest of the glass is still whole. You can still drink from it. You just need to learn to be mindful of the parts that can hurt you. So, I think that Unlock Your Storybook Heart is a really great story about finding love. I don't know what Amanda Lovelace has planned after this series, because this was the trilogy to do with fairy tales. And, you know, it has a title, but I have the brain of a sieve, so we're just gonna pop open the front. Yes, the You Are Your Own Fairy Tale. I'm assuming it's ending with number 3. It seems to kind of wrap up that way. Although it is interesting to note that Flower Crowns and Fearsome Things is not part of the fairy tale series. Even though it does tie into a mythos of sort, I suppose. Sorry, I just smacked that right into my container of pens. But it is if this is to be the final one in this kind of series, she seems to do things in 3 parts. I do think this is a happy ending to an intense series, and even with the women are some type of magic, this still ties into like a more happy ending of such an intense series. Like, you can see like the progress of her own mental state and like the way she thinks about things and how she's dealing with them change over time, and it's really stunning to kind of watch. Because like I still remember just the sheer anger of A Witch Doesn't Burn in this one, and that kind of lines up with both Flower Crowns and Fearsome Things and Shine Your Icy Crown, with both a general rejection of society's standards, but you can see the more positive outlook that her later poetry books have versus the kind of just rage against something that you know is going to win in the end. And I kind of like seeing that. It's been nice to see like this kind of, I guess, settling into herself, even though, you know, I don't actually know Amanda Lovelace personally, but the way her poetry tracks is just like, I'm happy for her. She seems so much more settled and positive and just like in a good space. And that's awesome. Sorry, I am staring at a bug crawling up my wall right now, and oh my god. It's okay, I'll murder it in a bit. And I loved this whole like journey of finding love and self-acceptance that she goes on throughout the story. Like we're seeing and hearing very vividly that you can love yourself, and that's fine, and you don't need somebody, but having a partner can make everything better if you are that way inclined. And I love that, because so often I see people like healing themselves or like touting romantic love as solving any and all worries, and so often I feel that's not always the case. And I loved that affirming kind of, you can just be you, and if you can love yourself with that and be satisfied with that, that's perfect. And so for me, that was just a great message, mostly because I despair of ever finding anybody who'll want to put up with me long term. And so it's just, I don't know, I love hearing more about self-acceptance and being content with yourself over just finding someone to wash all of that away, and I found that to be a truly great thing to strive for. Sorry, I'm watching this bug crawl around my doorway, and it just kind of like vanished into my door, and like, oh my god. But yeah, I've really enjoyed seeing her kind of change and settle into herself, and I liked reading about fitting into the world and finding your place. And once you find a way to live with yourself and like be yourself that makes you happy, then that is what you should do. And you don't need to stress yourself into fitting into all these molds that society has laid out for you, or that you think you should do. And I really liked that. So yeah, as always, I love Amanda Lovelace's poetry. And I was really happy to have purchased and read this book. As always, if you shop at Target and you have the Target credit card, you get like 20% off their titles, which is nice. So that's what I did. As always, thank you for listening and watching and hopefully mildly enjoying this content. Let me know what you would like to see more of in the future, and I'm off to go kill a bug. With that, Scholastically Natalie is